there's something going on out in Las Vegas.
There's always something going on in Las Vegas, Mike.
Okay. Welcome to I Like Batteries, the show where we explore the world of batteries. I'm Mike Muldoon.
And I'm Jeff Lynch. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Jeff. I know it's a good morning. It's a nice morning out there, and it was kind of a nice weekend. We had some snow. Both of us did.
A little bit of snow. We enjoyed that in New England.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. I mean, we got maybe 2 or 3 inches down here. How about yourself?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah,
but it was a bit windy.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which can increase or decrease the temperature, and thus the real feel is less than what the actual temperature is.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, just to be accurate.
That was the case here this weekend.
It's a good segue because one of the things I did is I did a bunch of work in the shed, and some of that work was I recorded some video. It was one of the goals for 2024. And 2025, and finally 2025, I got it done. So
there you go.
The recording happened. Yep. Talked a little bit about the shed for our listeners who are wondering, like, hey, he talks about the shed. What is it? So look forward to, I will include some of the links in there. Look forward to the YouTube video. Short, just goes a little bit of like, what's the setup in there? You know, and obviously one of the setups was what do I use to heat the shed? And for those, a little preview, in case you don't watch the YouTube video, is thank you to Jeff again for the hydronic heater, because that is a big part of heating the shed and does a great job of keeping it warm, because I like how once you shut it off, it still stays warm.
Yeah, it's a oil-filled radiator style thing. So it heats up the oil, and then it just continues to radiate that heat out for, I don't know how long, but quite some time.
Yeah, it depends how cold it is. But what I do like about that is it's kind of, I can cycle it. What I mean is I usually have that plugged into EcoFlow Delta. And so I will go ahead and turn it on, get it warm. I know it's about 15 minutes to get it to a nice temp at the low or medium setting. I went over in the video exactly how many watts each of those uses.
Oh, cool.
Different settings. Yeah. Because obviously I don't want to just take the battery and use it all up 100%. And then what I do with it is I use the Wave 2 once it's warm enough, because the Wave 2 gets warm. So I went over all the temps of the output, and maybe what I'll actually do now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't finished editing the video, I'll take some screenshots of what the Wave 2 looks like on the app, because that shows you like the temperature, sure, the ambient temperature and things like that. So that'd be kind of a cool thing. But yeah,
I think EcoFlow does a good job with their apps, I think. A reasonable job, I should say. I
think they do. What's funny to me, and good, bad, and different is obviously we'll cover a little bit more of the problems with my first EcoFlow, which is the river, and kind of how it's no longer flowing. But one of the things that is interesting to me is that each of the interface for each of the devices looks different based upon almost like what the firmware is. So like your river, when you look at it and how the interface is versus what the River and the Delta look similar, but now the River 2 and the River 2 Pro have the same interface, but they're different than the other two.
Interesting. Just because there's more features or something?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, completely. So okay. I didn't think we were going down this, but sure we're going down. I didn't go over this in the YouTube video. Is essentially that if you look at the Delta, I have more ability to control certain outputs. Like I can control the USB outputs, so the USB 2.0 or USB-A and USB-C. I can turn on and off independently with the app, because there is like a button for that. Versus the River 2 and the River 2 Pro don't have that. It's kind of almost like within the DC output realm, so I can't turn those on and off. I can turn the DC output off, so like the socket.
Right. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah. With the regular,
you can't actually control the USB outlets, and I'll tell you why. Like, I know it's kind of a weird one, but I have those little USB fairy lights that are, that's what they call them, on that. So they just super small output. But I have those in the shed. They're great for just so I walk in and it's not dark at night. Right? Yeah. But because I can control the USB via the Delta, I have those plugged into the Delta so that I can be in the house and turn it on right?
Right.
The other advantage of that is I have the timeout on all of those to be, it's different, to be honest with you, kind of how I have them trickle charged into each other. So some are 6-hour timeouts, some are 3-hour timeouts on the app.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think it's a 12-hour timeout actually on the Delta, because I've kind of hacked it enough that it stays on and on the Wi-Fi by actually just having that small half a watt of output going to the
Oh, right. So it doesn't go to sleep. Yeah.
So it doesn't go to sleep, so that then I can turn the heater on from inside the house. So it's like, I mean, that's my hack, but I don't know. So, and by the way, folks, we getting better about this in 2025. If you have one of these or have something else and you have a little bit of a hack that you've been able to use, feel free to email us, powered@iLikeBatteries.com. So clearly we, as of the last episode, you can see that we do read those. We do listen to them. I guess listen. Maybe if you're, hey, by the way, if you're audio, go ahead and send us an audio file. We're more than happy to throw that in the show as well. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, we would be more than happy to do that.
So going to get so sophisticated in year 6 of the iPhone.
Well, we're up in the game, which is what you should do. Isn't it? Well, I don't should do. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but it's what we decide to do.
That's right.
But yeah, I think so. That's just my little hack on that. So if that helps somebody, then we've done our job for today. The other thing, Jeff, that I want to say is there's something going on out in Las Vegas this past week, or still, I don't know how long.
There's always something going on in Las Vegas.
Well, yes, this is such a true statement, right? Okay,
not just one thing.
Unpack what I really meant. Go ahead for our listeners. Yeah,
yeah. So, the Consumer Electronics Show is happening in Vegas, which is an annual show which has grown and grown and grown, as far as I understand, over the years. Mike and I have neither one of us have been, but talked about this morning actually about it'd be fun to go once and just sort of experience what that is like. I suspect that people who have to go every year might have a different opinion.
They might have a different opinion. And of course, what we're talking about is, I mean, clearly there were some battery things. And if there were not some battery things that were there, that'd be weird. But Jeff, do you ever have a toast in the morning?
Most mornings I do, actually.
Most mornings. But do you charge your phone with a toaster?
I don't. And yeah, this is a strange one, but there was a new, and we like this, swappable battery.
Definitely.
Type thing at CES, put out by, do we say who is it by?
So it's called the Swippit Hub. I think I'm calling it SWIPPIT.
Swippit, yeah,
Hub.
That's right.
Swippit Hub. It's a toaster-sized box that interacts with a system of interchangeable batteries that fit into a specifically designed phone cases. The cases, which Snippet refers to as the Link, house 3,500 milliamp hour battery on the pack, enough extra battery capacity for your phone between 50 and 90%, depending on your model. So, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is with the toaster part is they have this little swappable thing where you insert your phone and it takes the battery out and puts in a new one. Yeah.
So that's I like this. This is the way that it's going. I mean, because the reality is, no matter if you're Qi charging, no matter if you're charging USB-C, any of this, there's a time thing versus like just, swap it out, makes sense. And it's pretty cool. Like, I think it's kind of neat. I could see this definitely as something that they would, I guess would say, license the technology. And then if you're at a certain thing, like you'd be at the gym or something, if you're not taking your phone with you, want to swap them out. Let's go over a little bit for our listeners too, just about the price of. It says the article from Tom's Guide said, of course, the convenience comes at a cost. The toaster like Swippit Hub retails for $450. Each Swippit Link case with a battery included costs $120. The company is running some introductory promos to soften the blow, and you can pre-order them the Swippit Hub from their website and get 30% off all products through January. So there you go. An additional CES promotion takes another $100 off the Hub's price tag. So I guess if you're going to do this, go for it. But as again, I don't know if this would be something that I would be using personally in the home, but I definitely could see this as like an add-on that you're giving to somebody if you're a business. I could see that use personally.
Yeah, I think adoption is going to be the big struggle here, right? I think they've solved some bit of it, right? Because it's built into a case, and the case is what changes, not the battery. So at least they've got some scale there. But yeah, I hope they don't get burned on this one, Mike.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff. Yeah, I had a feeling. I knew it was coming at some point within this, but I figured it's there. But hey, let's try and be a little more inorganic, and I say that because we're talking a little bit about fast charging inorganic batteries at CES 2025, and that's Prologium unveiled some of those in this article that we got from Clean Technica. We've gone over Clean Technica. They have some good articles that they come up with, but fourth generation lithium ceramic battery, LCB. So I wanted to talk. We definitely, it's everything lithium, right? Whether it's solid state, whether it's all these things, it stands in there. But lithium ceramic battery, so not lithium iron phosphate. Redefine the EV driving experience. The company says the new battery technology addresses many of the concerns electric car drivers experience every day: total cost of ownership, range anxiety, and safety. So it's interesting how they're saying it's going to do that, but let's tell you how it's going to do that. So extended range thanks to exceptional energy density, which we all know is hey, how many watts can you get per kilogram of weight in terms of power, or how many watt hours? Fast charging 10 minutes or less. We like that as well. Low temperature performance. Clearly, I had some issues with that with my lithium batteries when it gets to low temperature, and I've seen that with my own EV. Efficient heat dissipation and enhanced safety. So these all sound good, but let's get into the numbers on this, Jeff, because that's really what matters here. They surpassed, they're saying, the lithium iron phosphate batteries by up to 150%. So they achieve 380 watt hours per kilogram and 860 to 900 watt hours per liter. I guess I'm more familiar with the per kilogram, but I guess we could go per liter. Or I guess volume.
Yeah, I think it's because volume.
Weight.
Yeah, volume
right.
is really the other
size
factor,
versus weight,
especially for EVs, right? I mean, that's sort of like how it's packaged.
Completely. So it says the fourth generation lithium ceramic system cuts charging time to just 4 minutes for 60% capacity and 6 minutes for 80%. Rapid charging approaches the convenience of refueling while boosting charging station efficiency and profitability, which you've run into, right? And we talked about this a couple episodes ago when you went to charge, right? So it's this piece of saying, okay, time out. What are we really looking for? Well, I want to be able to charge it quickly, right? To be able to get that charge into there. So if we're saying 6 minutes for 80%, that's you. We've said this before. We haven't timed ourselves to be able to see how much gas you can put into the car, right? In a certain time for an ICE vehicle. But I think if you're saying 4 to 6 minutes, that's a reasonable amount of time to get you the extended range that you want. I mean, we're not going to get to 100%, but if you fill up your tank on an ICE vehicle from, wherever this is, and there's not saying where this battery is to get it to that, right? So are we at 20% and we're trying to get it 60
or zero,
or zero? But that's a reasonable amount of time between 4 and 6 minutes to get to 60, 80. And think about it, that is a true factor because the rapid charging, the convenience for boosting charging station efficiency and profitability, the more that they can get in, because almost when you look at charging stations today, what we have to relay to our listeners, and if you're getting into an EV, if you're making that decision, 2025 is going to be the year. It's this piece of saying, wait a minute, time out. I'm going to potentially get a charge for my quote unquote hookup, right? Like kind of that's the fee there, and then the price per kilowatt hour that I'm going to get into the car. So if you flip the coin over and you say, look at these recharging stations, how are they going to make their money? The more cars that they get into the station, the more they're going to make because they make that bump off of it, right?
Sure.
In terms of what they're getting and looking at that. Also, some interesting things, as we said, high performance in the cold. I've yet to know this term, but I like it. I probably heard it. 2 to 3 times the ionic conductivity of traditional liquid batteries. I don't know why. I just like ionic conductivity. It sounds good. Even at minus 20 degrees C, it delivers consistent range performance, eliminating concerns about unpredictable driving distances in harsh conditions. So that's pretty interesting. They're saying it has an advanced safety mechanism, ASM, that further prevents thermal runaway by activating automatic high temperature. So that's our safety, right? So we're not getting thermal runaway. We don't like those for batteries that are there. So this is pretty neat, and obviously I had not realized or we had not covered this company before. We're talking fourth generation. So this is not quote unquote new for them. They seem to be going down this lithium ceramic area, and I think this is important because the different type. This is where like,
is this a solid state battery? Like,
I don't know the answer to that. I don't. I mean,
they're basically saying they're lithium ceramic, right? So lithium is the material that's providing the electricity, right? The ions moving across the anode and cathode. And then it says a ceramic battery with inorganic electrolyte. So it sounds
solid statey,
like solid statey, but I assume if it was solid state, they would have said so.
I agree with you. Yeah, but I just think for our listeners and everything else like that, pay attention, because when don't get lost by when somebody says lithium batteries. It's like, okay, well, you could be talking lithium polymer batteries, right? Which is like, wait, and I actually was doing a little bit of research on trying to for this year, like top 10, I'd say battery packs under $10, right? And so I went on Amazon, kind of did a little bit of research the other day. And I'm looking at that, and all of a sudden there's one that pops up, and it's 20,000 milliamp hours for $9.99. I'm like, wait a minute. All the rest of these are 10,000 milliamp hours. Maybe there's some that are 15. What is this? Well, when I do my research and kind of look into this, it's a lithium polymer battery. I'm like, okay, well, that's why it's priced that way. I'm not going to get that many charge cycles out of this as I would for lithium iron phosphate or whatever that is. So just be clear, folks. When you look and somebody said lithium battery, take a look, because even if this is a lithium ceramic battery, that may be a better battery, right, than you're looking at here. And if you wonder why the price is there, or solid state as well. So you just got to check these things out, which is interesting. But it depends which one, which hat you want to wear. When you're looking at these different type of batteries. Jeff, you have any hats that you like to wear?
Yeah, I wear baseball hats mostly.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Have you ever worn a hat
sometimes in the front? Sometimes the brim is in the front.
Yeah.
And sometimes the brim is in the back when I wear it. Never to the side.
Never to the side.
But wouldn't it be nice if you could have like a full brim hat, which I don't personally own.
It's what I would call it.
But EcoFlow may have something for us here.
They may. Not only, and you're wait a minute. Let's talk about EcoFlow, the company that you guys use for the battery shed, and Jeff uses, and solar panels and things. We are, and it's in the wearables category for Engadget on their website, and coming out of CS, EcoFlow's solar hat is better for the planet than your style. And I will agree, if we look at the picture for that, I don't know if you're sporting a really nicely. I feel like this is something where you're in the desert, you're trying to keep the sun off of yourself, and charge your cell phone. Would you agree with at least that? And I know it's hard, folks, because you cannot see this when we're describing this, but EcoFlow has come out with a solar hat. And I don't know if this has
two USBs. Has two USBs.
Yeah, I know.
USB A and USB C. It has a maximum output of 5 volts at 2.4 amps. Yeah. It has a little LED light to indicate when it's charging, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. The subtlety in the image that they show with someone wearing said hat is how some of these sort of larger hats, full. I don't know, there's probably a name for them, and I'm not a hat person. I apologize if you are. The straps to be like, it would be like cinch under your chin. The person has the USB cables coming down. And sort of acting as though, I don't know that you'd want to tie them together to keep the hat on if it's windy, but maybe you could.
I feel like, yeah. I got to tell you, this one's different. And I honestly thought this was one of these things that I was like, oh, is this a spoof? Like, are they doing this thing? And then I have to tell you, Jeff, I clicked the link to be able to see what, and it does go. Like, I mean, EcoFlow
goes to a real place.
And by the way, it's IP65 rated for water and dust, which makes sense because you're like, I don't want, it might be rainy, although you're not going to get that great of a charge that's there. So $129. And what's strange is there's already 6 reviews on it on EcoFlow's website. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, people have bought this. So one is, I guess this has been out for a while because it says 4 months ago. You have some simple reviews like very cool product, quality made. I can see in a lot of situations. Received the EcoFlow power hat. It's a power hat, I guess is what we're calling it. Great gift from my brother-in-law. And then somebody took the time to do the a little bit more in depth with this. So it says, so it works. Might need some additional time on the drawing board. Maybe an included cable or small detachable battery pack or more accessible price, which I agree. And part of the reason I'd say I'd agree, right, is I don't feel like you're using this like this is your primary means of charging things. At $129, it's an expensive solar panel.
It is, but it's also a hat.
Okay. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to, it is. I don't know if it's a hat.
And I would say, like, again, purely from a functional standpoint, not a style standpoint.
Yeah.
But if you were walking behind somebody wearing this hat, sorry, someone else is wearing it, you're walking behind them, is what I meant to say. The solar panels are not so obvious.
Okay.
Right? I think they're sort of, it's a black hat. The panels are black. There's a little bit of grayish, about it.
Can you imagine can you imagine the daisy chain on this? Would this be something like where a teacher wears this and then like they've got the like USB to USB cables going down the thing so that all the kids can be charging their devices off it while you're walking outside?
You'd have to be really careful with the distance there.
But that's how you know the kids are still with you, is because if they disconnect, then it's right. Do you see where I was going with that?
I see with that. That
yeah.
might be.
Hopefully you and I are the only ones to see that, because that just feels like it's pretty weird. But hey, that's how we go on the show, folks. We start the year, we do different things. And by the way, we didn't come up with this. Thank you to EcoFlow. But you know what I'd like to do is jump from EcoFlow to Bluetti, because Bluetti, obviously, and EcoFlow have done a lot of things in the battery space, and they've got a lot of them. And Bluetti's kind of coming into the home a little bit more, because obviously they have some larger power stations that power a lot of things. But they hadn't quite been in that category where EcoFlow did with their the Delta Pros and the Ultras, and gone to these really home battery solutions. But now Bluetti's getting there, and I will say, as somebody who has both, has the EcoFlow and Bluetti's, there are app wise how they function. There's different things that are pluses and minuses, and I like the Bluetti ones, and some of their older models have come down in price, where their price per watt hour is pretty good. But this article is coming to us from CNET, and CNET kind of said, hey, Bluetti's been a well-known company for power space, claiming several spots, best portable power station. Now they have the Apex 300s, their all-in-one energy storage system for home backup, RV, and off-grid living. As they said in the article, well, they're kind of competing now with EcoFlow's power kits as well. So I think they're getting bigger. I will say that EcoFlow did a redesign on how their power stations look. They look pretty cool. I'll be honest, the new interface that they have on the front for seeing what's charging, percentages, look really good. They just even changed a little bit of design, and I like it. One of the things that I've always liked, is I have the EV3A about the Bluettis, is that it's the Qi charger on top. It's so nice. Mm-hmm. It's so nice to have that. Like, that's something EcoFlow doesn't have, and it's like, yeah, because when I have it sitting there, I just throw the phone right on top, or AirPods case, and like, yep, we're good. Yeah, exactly. and you're not having to. You don't have to have a cable, because sometimes that's the issue. Like, you're like, I don't have a cable, or you have to look for the cable. So that's good. Expandable capacity of this, 58 kilowatt hours. I mean, this is what we're saying. Now you're getting into that thing where, depending on the size of your tiny home RV, it could be good. For sure.
Yeah, so you can chain up to 18 batteries.
Yeah.
On the Apex 300, which is it's pretty good.
80% charge in 45 minutes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Well, see, they say that, right? But like, how many inputs are there? And like, you probably have to use all of them.
True. And what I'm not sure about this one, and I think is what they have, is that I think this can charge via EV stations as well. Like, remember how EcoFlow's got that ability to be able to charge with that same charger? I think that's one of the things they have. And we'll have to dive deeper a little bit into this. But the other thing that they said...
This says it can go the other way.
It can go the other way, yeah. So you can charge a Tesla. idle power draw of 20 watts, third less than its competitors, and set that up for obviously RV as well as if you're trying to charge something that's there. So I think this is where they're going. Plus, they did something a little bit bigger, Jeff. Their Bluetti Energy Pro 6K is their first battery backup option. AT1 smart distribution box, bidirectional EV charging, and generator charging without manual switching. So they're jumping into that, let's say breaker box area that EcoFlow's been in. So, and I like this because the more competition you get into this, the more innovation that comes. And I think this is good to be able to see. So they're saying
what's funny about this?
No, I don't know what's funny. Tell me.
Well, I'm scrolling the page, right? So we're seeing, and I'm thinking power stations.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of the Energy Pro 6K.
Yeah.
But there's no additional context for it. There's no picture of it at a house, so I have no idea of the scale. So it just looks to me like it's a really blown up handheld power station.
Oh.
Like a little battery pack. Like maybe it's 6 or 8 inches tall, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think it is, because if you can run air conditioners, water heaters, and EV chargers off of that type of power,
right.
I want it.
But
that's some energy density. Like, let me be 100% honest with you.
I was wondering about how it related, and it certainly related in a different way than I initially thought.
Yeah, definitely. And how this relates too is, I think we'll finish up the show today with a little bit of paper. How's that sound, Jeff?
Paper. It sounds exciting. I mean, if you write a lot, perhaps.
Yeah, but what if you could use it for a battery?
Right. That would be cool.
Well, you can, though.
You can.
According to Lifehacker, and Lifehacker's CS coverage is a battery made out of paper before. So Flint brought one of it made to CS, a more sustainable, scalable, and affordable alternative to lithium-ion batteries. It all comes down to cellulose, which lets ions transfer between the node they say in there, which we believe is a typo. So we're pretty sure
it is a typo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's anode and cathode of the battery. Better yet, the battery can be sized down to just about whatever size you need. And a coin battery, which we've seen those, right? For sure. Definitely use those for a lot of things. For smartwatch. Here's the best part, Jeff. When you're finished, they don't end up at landfill. They decompose in 6 weeks. So you could use them to plant your seeds, right? And then
Absolutely.
use the single-use batteries for the phosphate for the fertilizer. Bingo, we're good to go. Solve the world's problems right there. I like batteries.
There you go. Paper batteries.
Yeah. Paper batteries.
Right, and they don't. Right, they make a point of saying that they don't require rare earth or toxic materials or scarce materials in their batteries. So
yeah, this is good. But did you use any batteries this weekend, Jeff?
I did. I used the human battery, and it snowed. So I before I went to bed, I was out there before it got dark. I should say I went out and I did a pass with a shovel, which was fun in some respects because the snow was light and fluffy and cleared the driveway. But in the morning, there was still, I don't know, not even an inch, maybe half, 3/4 of an inch of snow left on the driveway. And we had gotten this idea. We were in Portland, Maine over the weekend, and somebody was clearing the sidewalk with a leaf blower.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm going to try this. So I actually sent Mike a video over the weekend. So I pulled out my Ego leaf blower, which is the sort of backpack style, and I threw one of the new 7.5 amp hour batteries that came with my new Ego snow thrower. Right, so now, snow thrower versus snow blower. Right, so my leaf blower is actually a snow blower, and I think that's actually really fun.
This is fun, and you never know. That may be the title of this episode. We don't know, folks, but hopefully you learned something. Maybe you learned that you can use your battery-powered leaf blower to be able to clear some of that snow, and hopefully that helps you out. And hopefully you are going to have a great week. You stay fully charged, or at least 80%.